Welcome back to another episode of Open to Work and Looking webinar to help those who are looking for work and need some job search tips or interview tips or anything related to all of that. So I'd like to introduce my panel today. We have Andrea Donatucci and Darren Edelman. I'll let each of you guys say a few words about who you are and why you're here.
Andrea?
Sure. So my name is Andrea Donatucci. I'm based in San Francisco Bay Area. And I think I was invited by Matt because I've been sharing and curating open roles on LinkedIn that I've been spotting. I typically look for posts that are being shared by either the hiring manager, recruiter, or someone that works for the organization that's hiring, as well as I try to share helpful content on AI and careers. So Matt, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here.
So my name's Darren here in Los Angeles, sunny California. Welcome. Thanks so much, Matt, for having me. I think, Matt, you found one of my LinkedIn posts and invited me on, which I really appreciate. I've been creating people's resumes, LinkedIn profiles for about 20 years. I was teaching here in LA and then found out that there's actually a job where you help people with resumes and profiles and job search techniques, things like that. So I fell in love with that, got more and more bored with teaching, more and more excited helping professionals, and started doing that full time. As soon as AI started coming around, about maybe 1 or 2 years ago, I started looking into it. Last year, when ChatGPT was starting to become more popular, I started to take courses and really learn a lot about it. And since then, I've just been using it, helping my clients to empower them to use it for their interviewing, for job search techniques, all these kind of things. So I'm here to help and provide you guys some great resources.
Great, and we'll dive into that in a little bit. This is our second time doing this, so some of this might be a little bit repetitive, but bear with us. We're going to answer any questions that we get in the comments. This is now live on LinkedIn, and it's going to be recorded, and we'll post it, and it'll be on our Open to Work group on LinkedIn, so you can reference it at any time. There's some good resources in these slides that we have here, and then we'll be adding into it and sharing it more, but don't feel like you have to write everything down now or that you can't step away. It will be recorded. So the first thing I want to do is, we shared some slides last time, which I think were kind of helpful, and we'll share them again. I put this as 5 things to do right now. Add the Open to Work banner. You guys can chime in on this. There's a lot of people who say don't add it. I think you should add it. I think if you make a comment or if you post something on anyone else's thing, they'll see that you have that icon. They might not even know who you are, and they just might see what you have and maybe what your headline says, looking for work. And just because you commented on someone's Friday funny post, they see that there's an Open to Work icon there, and they say you're looking for marketing. And meanwhile, hey, they know about this group that is posting marketing jobs, or someone who you should follow. So I think you should add it. Maybe create something to stand out, which is probably, I think, on the next slide. What do you guys think about the Open to Work banner?
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons. On one side, some people say it shows you're kind of open and desperate. You might start getting, very likely actually nowadays, you're likely to start getting scams and people bothering you, things like that. At the same time, you're going to be getting legit job offers. So, and people interested in you, recruiters, things like this. So on one hand, it's like going on a online dating platform. Yeah. That is where the dates are. On the other hand, you're showing that you're open and single and whatever. So there's pros and cons. If you're still in your job, it's probably best not to put that banner up there. But you have to weigh your personal situation, whether you think it's best for you or not.
Yeah, I've been hearing people kind of experiment, turning it on, turning it off. I know that there's a private setting as well that recruiters can see that you should absolutely have turned on. because you'll come up, I think, a different way as they're using LinkedIn Recruiter. I'd also say on the second point, Matt, there's a lot of hashtags that are specific to maybe functions. So like there's one called comms jobs. So
Yeah.
also try to look for hashtags that are kind of specific to like the type of role you're looking for. So I just wanted to kind of call that out.
I think we're going to put together some of these, but if anyone has any hashtags, comms jobs is definitely good. They're all over in the group. So I encourage everyone to join the Open to Work group, because as I'm sharing everyone's job postings, all of these hashtags are on there, and you can follow those and actually use hashtags for what they were intended for, and not just Instagram trying to make whatever you're posting sound even funnier. Headline, indicate what you're looking for. You have a certain amount of characters that's going to show up every time you post. Not when you click on a full profile, you'll read everything, but every time you click on anything, someone just sees this short amount of characters, and usually it'll get cut off because people write sentences. Figure out how many characters that is, write a sentence down, switch it around. That's what people are going to see. And it should definitely let people know, if I see your profile that you commented on something, that you should know, I should very easily know that you're looking for work and kind of what you're looking for. It's not that many characters, but kind of what you're looking for. And I think everyone should do that. And I think you should probably do that. I changed it a little bit, even for me, for my business. Like, it's very good practice, so people can, some people give them a reason to click on your profile, is what I would say. Follow the hashtags. We talked to comms jobs. We'll get some good hashtags and a nice list for you guys, so we can have it all in one place. We'll get that going as well. Engage to get visibility and post content to get noticed. It's okay to brag. Some people do this. You might say too much, but people need to know and that goes back to the Open to Work banner. People need to know that you're looking for work, and you want to be top of mind when someone I do it all the time. I see this job and I'm sending it to someone I know because they've posted, hey, this is what I'm looking for, or they've commented on stuff like that. So you just never know. It just takes one click, and someone's friend who saw a post here, who then clicked something. I mean, you just want to open widen the circle and the net that you're using to try and get work.
Yeah. Can I chime in on this one? Because I think I'd even take a step back and think about what you want your personal brand to be. So if you're applying for a job and the hiring team is going to look you up on LinkedIn, if I pull up your profile and look at your recent comments, posts, what does it say? What do you want to say? What do you want it to say about you? And I would be intentional about what I comment on, what I post, and really always sort of have that personal brand thought in my head as I engage on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think, for better or worse, whether it's fair or not, people will use stuff that they see. I don't, it brings me back to a funny story. We were a small company, 5 people, and we interview this guy, and he comes in and then he leaves, and we see all these like rap videos that he had done creatively on YouTube. And I think we didn't hire him. I don't think it was because of that, but maybe that got in to someone's mind. And does it really mean that this guy wouldn't have been great at the job? I don't know if it does or it doesn't. Maybe you would have thought he was, maybe not so serious, but whether it's fair or not, people are going to see whatever, they're going to look for whatever else you've done out there. And if you're trying to find a job, like Scott said, I think you want it to be as favorable as you can.
And also, this would be actually a great way to use AI to help you. So I'll get more into like prompts and things like that. But basically, you could have AI help you create your personal brand, and then also set like a schedule to provide you industry information each week. And so you'll be getting you could position yourself as a subject matter expert in your field. And I like what was mentioned before about really creating your brand and kind of posting with intentionality. If you're the type of person that loves, you don't want to overdo like inspirational messages, but if you like certain quotes or something like happened in the news or something like that that's very meaningful to you, feel free to post that. Anything that you would be happy that an employer sees about you. Think about posting something like that that shows, personality. It shows your values, things like this. So you want to get that out there.
Yeah, and the content doesn't have to just be about your job search. It could be about anything. If it's about your industry, great. If it's something just you want to share with people, like inspirational, great. Just people need to know that you're looking. I think that's half the problem. People don't know that you're looking for work, and it's so competitive out there because there's so many people who are screaming, at the top of their lungs on the rooftop that they're looking for work. So you need to be right there with them and asking for what you want. Let people know, hey, here's what I want. And I think it'll be on maybe the next slide, but be very intentional about to let people know what you're looking for, because that helps us help you. If we don't know exactly what you're looking for, marketing is very vague, social media, communications, all this stuff. There's only a few things that are pretty easy for someone to say, oh, I guess that's what they're looking for. So let's go to the next one. Stuff you could do to help the job seekers: like, comment, share job posts, just click like. It's one button, and it's all it takes is that now everyone in your network could possibly see what it is. I would say don't go over anything with anyone that has to do with looking for work without clicking some type of reaction. That's the least we can do to help everyone, I think. We'll go through these quick and then I'll get your guys' thoughts. Connect with people who are open to work. You see that icon? Connect with them. So you can share jobs. So you can tell them to join our open to work group. So you can tell them that there's webinars out there. So you can tell them, hey, this AI stuff that I saw from Darren can help, and tell them, hey, you should connect with Andrea because every week she's posting these jobs. So I see an open to work. I don't connect with everyone because LinkedIn is preventing me from some of these connections. But as many as you can, at least definitely click the like, let people know that, and help these other people. It costs nothing. It takes 3 seconds. So do it. Tag people you think would be good for a position. I think that's always helpful. That goes to knowing what someone wants. You don't want to just tag them in anything, right? It should really be something that you think is good for them. Engage with those looking for work with positive message and helpful tips. Andrea does a great job with this. There's a lot of other people posting, inspirational things and stuff to keep. It's very tough time for the people who are looking for work, and sometimes they just need to see that message that everything's going to be okay, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. It only takes one. Whatever it is, as cliche as it might sound, I think you'd be surprised how you can brighten someone's day who's in this job search, which is, I've been there. It's brutal. Help as much as you can. You never know if you're going to be looking for work and needing help yourself. One click can change someone's life. I say it all the time. I do things because I think it's right. I also try and be helpful because I got a lot of help to get where I am right now, and I'm not anywhere near where I need to go, but I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am without the help from a lot of people. And so it's easy to do. Just the one click. I mean, this is the bare minimum I think that we're saying people can do. And there's people who go above and beyond. Again, go look at Andrea's thing that she does weekly. It's not a 5-minute, let's put this together thing. I started to do part of it. And that's why I said, well, let me just create this group. It's too much. And I don't know if it can help as much with the time. I don't think it's equal there. So that's why I opened the group instead of just doing the posts and tagging people. But this is stuff we can do to help. And I think there's a lot of people out there who want to help. And so let them help you. And also, Jerry Maguire, help me help you.
So Matt, can I chime in on one of these? There's also the ability to follow people, and I'd actually recommend doing that first. So if you see someone sharing jobs, follow them, start to engage where you can. And then, if you feel like there's a common connection, then I would send the connection request. And if you are going to send a connection request and you're not connected in some way, I really would highly encourage including a short note about why you're sending the request, because sometimes it's hard to see the linkage of why someone's sending the request.
Yeah,
So
that's
a couple
great
tips.
point. Oh, it's a great point about following it. I use the word connect, although that's actually literally what it is on LinkedIn. So I definitely follow them, and it's a lot easier. They won't limit who you follow, and I think they might know if you follow them. I don't know if they get a notification, or if they look on you, they'll see that you're following them. But either way, I don't think anyone would get offended by someone following them. Some people might be not so keen to just keep connecting with the others. So that's a great point. More
Also,
tips.
I just want to say
Yeah, go
it's
back.
really all about people power. It always surprises me that with all the AI and technology and alerts and smartphones and some phones that aren't that smart, the way that 80% of plus of people get jobs is through another person, through connection. And so the more that, as we're saying, the more that you help people, the more that you kind of put yourself out there, the more kind of resources that you're building really for yourself.
Yeah, I'd also say that not all connections are created equal. So I always try to stress that when someone reaches out. I am more than willing to reach out to someone I know if it's a strong connection. If it's a salesperson that called on me once,
Yeah.
my reaching out is probably not going to be helpful.
Or name dropping. I mean, you definitely want to say, hey, I know these 5 people. You know, do you think any of them would be helpful? And you'll let them know, it'd be better if I say something to them, or go ahead and reach out directly, drop my name, or it probably won't help, but maybe it won't hurt. I don't know. People drop stuff. I get probably a side note. I just get these things like, we helped XYZ company do this, and or we helped this person. I'm like, I've never even heard of these people in my life. I'm not even connected with them. It's just they're just saying a name that they think is going to be impressive, and I'm just like, I don't know who that is. So you might get that if you drop someone's name. I actually ran into someone at a restaurant just randomly, and we happened to be Facebook friends, and I didn't recognize, had to be, in conversation, we realized that we were connected that way. So help us help you. That's the Jerry Maguire. Identify a target industry, company, and job titles you're interested. You should know that anyway, for when you're talking to people, when you're talking to a recruiter, if you're going for interviews. But it's good to narrow it down. It doesn't mean that you're only looking at this. I think people are hesitant to say, this is my dream job. You should know what your dream job is. If you can tell me what your dream job is, it's going to be much easier for me to help you as I see these things coming on, who I think you might be able to talk to. I might even be connected and know someone in a company in your top 5 or top 10 wish list. So I think everyone should do that.
Matt, can I comment on this one too? And I'd be curious to hear what Darren has to say. I know that you can follow. So if you have your target list, you should be following those companies on LinkedIn. And then for your very top list of companies, you should be clicking that you're interested in working for them. I think there's a setting for that as well. Then I would look and see, are you connected to someone that works for that company, ideally in the discipline that you want to work in, and start to cultivate those relationships. Even if you don't see an active job there, just starting the relationship when you're not asking for anything.
Yeah.
Or rekindling that relationship. So those would be a couple pointers that I know on LinkedIn can be some good ways for relationship building in your target company.
And that speaks to this right down there. Does someone in your network know anyone at the company? But then you can also get in there. And a great point about they don't have to be looking for a job. I think you want to get involved and ingrained and connected and engaged with them. It can't hurt anyway. You never know. The job might come up. You might just reach out and say, hey, I want you know who I am. I want to work for you guys. And sometimes that's the way it works. I don't say throw everything at the wall, but you want to do as much as you can do.
One other point, I would also pay attention to the company's fiscal year. So know if their fiscal year is ending, that they're less likely to hire. A lot of times your headcounts are going to start in the next fiscal year as you get to the end of a fiscal year. So also just try to be like, do as much homework as you can about these companies that are on your list.
So April says she can't find it. We'll do a post. Join our group, and we're gonna do a post that will clearly show you how to do it. Hopefully you have it. If not, then that's something that LinkedIn can help with. Do something to stand out. That's that's whether it's content you post or share something, or I think as it's just as simple as that. Stand out, get someone's attention. I think that's what the check mark or the open to work icon does. But it's important to stand out for a number of reasons. The gap in your thing. This is more resume help. I don't think I'm probably great at resume. Obviously, Darren is. Me personally, I would not worry about a gap in my resume, especially with COVID or helping a family member. Look, right now people are out of work for a while. It's just what it is. And I think a company, my opinion, I forgot to say this at the start, by the way. Everything that you hear here is just our opinions. There's nothing like, do the research you need to do and take it for what it's worth. I think it's good advice. That's why I bring them on, and I think I have some good advice, but that's all it is advice. It's my thought. We don't even have to agree on all this, and there's probably some compelling reasons why you shouldn't put a gap on there, and I'm happy to hear those. From my point of view, I wouldn't want to work for a company that's going to be that way, and I think I would just put it there. But even put gap in there and put unemployed or help, whatever it is. Some of it's none of their business, but it could be personal reasons. Whatever it is, in case there's some type of like computer thing that's looking for that. I don't know. And there is, right? Isn't there some type of computer thing that's looking for that?
I'm not well, normally people the applicant tracking systems will calculate the number of years of experience. You could particularly tell that when you look at the job requirements, and if it says something like they're looking for 5 years of project management, 5 years, use of Microsoft Office or whatever like that, then you could tell that most likely the company has programmed their applicant tracking systems to look for at least like the amount of time in those skills or in those positions or whatever. Best practices with resumes is you generally don't want to put months of your employment. So you just want to put, 2000, 2003 or whatever. Everyone has gaps in their resume. Very few people, lose a job and then within an hour, get to your next job.
Isn't it miraculous how everyone's timeline all goes end in April, start in May? Incredible.
Right. Yeah. So generally don't put months because that eliminates most gaps. Also, anything under 12 months won't even show up on your resume as a gap. So anything less than a year, you really don't need to say anything. When it gets to over 2 years and there's a very clear discrepancy, you generally want to say something. You generally on a resume want to avoid anything to do with health, family, status, medical, politics, hot button topics, things like that. So you don't really want to say things like that. What I do when I work with clients is I try to do a deep dive if they have, an extensive gap, even if it's something like, let's say a mom has been out of work for, 10 years raising kids. I want to try to avoid saying like, I've been raising my kids. I would ask them during this time, have you done any volunteer work? Have you done any career development? Have you taken any courses? Have you kind of done anything at all that we could kind of wordsmith it into a way of saying like, during this time I was, taking courses, I was improving my skill set, I was learning, something like that. And you could hopefully avoid, because the thing is from an HR and a company's perspective, if you say anything about, a medical issue or a gap because you were raising children, things like that, even though you might be the most talented person and the best match for that job, they're thinking costs and benefits. So they might be thinking like, oh, this person has a kid, are they going to leave, for school issues? Are they going to, be absent? Is their focus going to be on children and other things as opposed to focusing on, the company?
Yeah, my
So, yeah.
thought is that, that stuff will all come out in the interview. So the resume is really just to get you the interview. It's not to get you the job. It's just to get you the interview. And so people need to tailor their resume for that. Again, I'm not great at my resume is terrible. It's, but if you get into the interview, that's your opportunity to talk. And maybe we'll do another webinar about, interviews, because there's some really good people out there with great tips on interviews and stuff like that. But, with the resume, it's just, it's like standing out, right, to get them to at least have an initial chat with you. This one is really, I posted about this the other day, very, very frustrating. Make sure people can message you. Make sure that people can comment on your post. I saw someone looking for work and I couldn't comment on their post and I couldn't message them. I mean, I connected with them, but I mean, that's just this, I mean, that's a no-brainer. Like, sure, you might get some spam. Okay. I mean, you're looking for work. I leave it open and I don't, whatever, just don't look at that stuff, but just make sure your messages are open so anyone can message you if they want to share something with you. They don't have to connect with you. They don't have to follow you or anything like that. And make sure that anyone can comment on your post. That would be, I mean, you got to, again, help people help you. You got to not give anyone roadblocks to trying to help you. That's, I guess, probably job search 101. Don't put any roadblocks out there. Get to 500 connections. This one is more of just a LinkedIn. For some reason, LinkedIn cares if you have 500 connections or not, and it stops counting publicly. Certainly if you're at 400 and something, it just depends. It indicates that you're well connected, or you're on here longer, or you might be more. I don't know. It's a bias. It probably doesn't mean anything, but sure, if I see someone with 100 connections on here, and it's a business, it's not bartending, right? Where bartenders wouldn't have to be on here. This is business stuff where they would want someone to, have some sort of presence on here. The people who try and join our group, you see 3 connections, 5 connections, 8 connections, no followers. I'm like, no, we're not letting you in.
Yeah. So Matt, I would say, even when someone's sending you a connection request, like your first, in the past, this wouldn't have crossed my mind, but you hear about like fake profiles. So you're looking at like, do they have connections? Do they have recommendations? Like, are there signals that this is a real person? So I think connections is one of those.
Yeah.
There's probably others.
Yeah. You can see how many followers they have. You can see when they joined, when they join LinkedIn. Sometimes you can't. Typically, if they're a second connection, they're fine. And if they have the gold LinkedIn thing, they're fine. Usually you're going to find the spam in the third connections. That's typically what it is. But all it does is take a click and look at their profile, and you'll be able to see. This is a big list, and this will be on here. Follow these people who are posting available jobs. It's a great list. It's not even probably half of the people who are doing it, but these guys are doing it every week. And I'm taking the jobs that they post on their site and I'm sharing it in the Open to Work and Looking group. So follow them. We'll make this even a more comprehensive list, which we can do. And it's just continuing to grow. I mean, there's a lot of people, like all different types, communications and social media and sports and marketing. If people are just posting remote, Caitlin does Disney stuff. Rob Blasco does events. Just a ton of people. Shufton has a whole ongoing thing. So Brendan Cox does all different types of marketing for all different types of industries. So don't think I'm looking for this. Oh, these people don't have. You just never know. It also, puts some companies on your radar that you might never have heard of, and maybe some job descriptions that you might never have heard of, job opportunities. And maybe it might not be with that company, but you might say, hey, I saw XYZ position open with these guys. Maybe, this company that I really like or others in this industry might have something like that. So I encourage you to follow all of these people, and tell other people to follow them, because that's how it just increases the network of people who are seeing it. And then when you follow them, click on like, for their posts so other people can see it, and comment on their posts. If there's a job that you think would be good for you, and tag someone if there's a job that you think would be good for them. And it's just how it goes. I mean, I don't know who started this whole thing. I feel like Christine Osazuru has been doing it for a lot of weeks. I mean, I'm feeling like it might have been since the pandemic. I know, who else has been doing it? Mark.
Leah.
Oh,
Leah
you've been doing it.
been doing it for 2.5 years, I think, at least.
Yeah, and Mark Goldberg, who's got some funny photos to go with his posting, have been doing it. So I got inspired to do certain posts because I saw other people. So as this just keeps evolving, there's going to be more and more people. It's going to give people less of an excuse to say, I'm not seeing anything. Now, you hear that a lot, but I see a ton of stuff. It's very competitive. So it's hard to get those jobs, but the jobs are out there. And so, important thing is to get early, right? That's what people tell you, get in early. Because
I was going to say also something that
1,000 people, it's hard to get.
I was going to say also a really great place to put yourself in is connecting with like careers and industries that are adjacent to yours. So like I'm a resume writer, so I connect actually a lot with recruiters. If you're in human resources or recruiting, maybe you want to connect with people in kind of adjacent industries, because a lot of times they might be able to point you in a direction of job openings, resources, companies, things like this.
So Matt, I was also going to say I would sign up for job alerts from your target companies. That's where you're actually going to get the earliest indicator that a new job has been posted. So you can start to search. Let's say you're searching for a communications role at a particular company. It usually will ask you, do you want a job alert that matches your search criteria? Yes. And then it will start to, like, in the morning, a lot of times you'll get an email that, hey, this brand new job was just posted in the last 24 hours. That will probably give you notice before you even see it shared on LinkedIn. So that would be one tip. There's also a way on LinkedIn to go in and search for posts that someone is hiring. So you would typically do that as hiring and, in quotes, the role you're looking for, or maybe not get that specific, communications, marketing. And then from there, you can say, I want to see posts in the last 24 hours, in the last week would be the 2 timeframes. And you can even manipulate it from there. But then again, that will get you like these fresh posts of people posting saying, I'm hiring for this particular job.
Yep. I put up the link for the Open to Work and Looking group. You can connect with any of us and you'll see it. You can look on my feed, and that'll share it. It might be easier to get in there, but I encourage you to share this with anyone who's looking. We're almost at 3,000 members, which is incredible, and just a lot of resources. It's sort of, the idea was to take all these people who are posting stuff and have it in one area. And so you can just go to this group and now you'll see, and it'll come up in your feed, because some of this stuff gets lost. It won't. If you engage with it, it'll show up more, but some of it will get lost in the feeds. You're not going to see every one of their posts. So that's one of the reasons why I did it. One rule we have is just no selling. So if you have services and you want to offer them for free to the people, that's the least we can do. If you have any advice or want to share stories or tell people who you are and what you're looking for, anything you feel that will help others or help yourself get work is fair game. But this is the group, and we'd love to have you join and help. There's some really good members in there who are posting and sharing stuff, and they're just trying to help. Darren, are we going to share your screen and talk a little bit about how AI can help your search?
Sure.
Okay, so if I click this, Can
Should
you
I
make
present?
it bigger?
Should I talk from there or use my screen?
I
Is that
think
clear?
that is your screen. It's just whatever you do will show up.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
Oh wait, hold on.
So, oop,
Oh, no, this got removed. Okay, there we go.
so ChatGPT and Gemini are really great resources. I prefer Gemini just because it's easier to learn. It's connected with Google, so you could use Gmail and GDocs and all those things. And in general, I've had better responses from Gemini. So you could use ChatGPT pretty much the same, but just in this example, I'm going to use Gemini. It's free. There's a paid version, but the free one works just as well. You could upload. Oh, yeah, question or?
No.
So you could upload your resume, and also the more information you give it, the better. So you could upload your resume, upload job descriptions, upload LinkedIn profiles of the HR manager that you're interviewing with, upload job company descriptions, whatever it is, and then the more information it has, the better information it could give you. So good information in, good information out.
Yeah, specific. You got to be very
Right.
specific.
Right. So prompts are basically how you communicate with Gemini. It's basically the instruction, and it's very much in like humans. Whoever asks a question is the one who controls the conversation, and so you're the one controlling the conversation with Gemini. There's a couple of different parts to an ideal prompt, which I'll get into the next slide. But basically, you first of all tell Gemini how you want it to act, the role you want it to play. So here I'm telling it to act as an expert recruiter. You could combine roles. So act as an expert recruiter, act as an expert HR manager, etc. And read my resume and give me 10 places where I could find ideal jobs. I used a resume as an IT project manager. I'm in LA looking for a salary of X amount. The output, I want the output in bullet points. And then this last part is called confirmation, where I want to make sure that Gemini understands what I just asked it. If you're giving it something very simple, like you're just saying, give me the 5 highest rated Italian restaurants in Lower East Side Manhattan, you don't need to confirm that it understands what you just asked it. But for anything general, anything that whenever you're not getting a good response, anything you're not clear about, you always want to confirm that it knows what you just asked it. So one of the best prompts for that is this, what I wrote here, which is before you provide an answer, you must ask me any clarifying questions necessary to ensure you are 95% certain of exactly what I'm asking. Do not proceed with the answer until I have responded to your questions. You don't want to use 100% because then it'll just keep asking you for like infinity. And if you go less than 95, it might not be clear. So that's really like the ideal confirmation. And these are the different parts. So you act, you tell it the role. You could tell it act as the world's greatest interviewer, act as the world's greatest job search technique strategist, whatever it is. And then the green part is the instructions. You got to be very precise. And the more details you give, the better. And then the output of how you want it. You generally want to be very specific. So you don't want to say, I just lost my job. What should I do? You could say, I lost my job. I live in this area code. I'm looking for jobs within a 50-mile radius. This is the salary that I'm looking for. And I want you to give me 10 bullet points of places to find jobs or things like that. You could, and there are various ways that it could provide you this. So it could give you a table, a chart, it could give you highlights of information, and also creative format. So letters, it could, if you give it your resume, you could give it a job description and tell it to edit a cover letter for you, tell it to create a post-interview letter once you had an interview, anything like that. Let's see, oops. Here. And yeah, okay. Once I told it to ask me what it doesn't understand, so this is what it will look like. It'll say, okay, I understand you're looking for this and that. and then for whatever reason, it didn't understand that the resume that I uploaded, that's what I want it to look at. And these are the parameters: that I'm a senior project manager, that I'm looking in Los Angeles, that I'm looking for this salary. So once it clearly understands what I'm looking for, then it gave me a bunch of junk, so I had to kind of refine it. But at the end of the day, this is what it gave me. So it gave me 10 different resources to use: ZipRecruiter, Ladders, some some references and recommendations within Los Angeles. And if you didn't tell it to give you the contact info, it would have just given you a list of the places. So if it gave you that, you could just refine it in a prompt and just say like, okay, now give me the phone numbers for all of these places. And there's there's a whole bunch of things. There's just an infinite amount of things that AI could help you with. I'm just giving you a few tools and hopefully some general principles that you could take with you to use for whatever you need in your job search, and also personal, if you need to write a letter for whatever, or whatever you need in your personal life, AI can help you with that too. So there's two main job boards that I recommend. One is Indeed, the other is LinkedIn Jobs. And as Andrea said, actually, this is one tip I was going to mention, is that if you look for LinkedIn Jobs and then you look for jobs within 24 hours, you're going to start seeing jobs that actually already have 100, 200 applications, because people are very quick. And the early bird catches the worm, and also the early bird gets the job. So you could actually manipulate that. And if you look at the header, there's a whole long thing that says www.linkedin.com/jobs/ blah, 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 blah. You'll come to a number. That number is something like 18, like 1,000, 300, blah, blah, blah. That number is the number of minutes within 24 hours. And that's what LinkedIn is looking at. You could change that so that LinkedIn doesn't just give you the jobs that were posted within 24 hours. It gives you the job posted within the last hour, within the last 3 hours, whatever. And the sooner you could get the job, the more likely you're going to be that early bird that catches the worm. So this is just a very quick example of a job that I found on Indeed. So I'm going to cut and paste this job description into into Gemini. And then what I asked, you could ask it to do anything you want. What I asked it to do here for me is to create a gap analysis between my resume and that job description. And so it told me the skills that I have, the skills that the job is looking for, and then what's missing. So here there's a minimal gap. There's a significant gap. And that's going to help you in the interview, because obviously if you're missing something, you're probably going to be asked that in an interview. That's going to help you create a good cover letter, edit your LinkedIn profile, just a whole bunch of great information. Let's see. And I have a free guide that I'm happy to give to any of you viewers who want it. Just let me know. On that guide, I have about 24 different prompts, ideas that you could use. These are just a few, but it's just absolutely amazing. You're really limited only by your imagination with what Gemini could do for you. So you could give it a prompt to customize and optimize your resume, create a cover letter, research the company, create a job search schedule for yourself, especially if you're delaying, if you're a procrastinator, if you have a lot of things going for you, if you have to worry about family, your work, hobbies, a whole bunch of things, and you don't know when you could schedule working on your resume and searching for jobs and working on your interview skills, AI could do that for you. Give you a weekly progress report, and help you to analyze, once you had an interview, how that interview went and what you could do in the future to fix that. Help with your LinkedIn profile. And this was what I mentioned about the news digest. So have AI send you daily or weekly news items so you could become an industry expert. There's obviously an infinite amount of more. If I had 3 more months to talk to you guys, I would explain a lot more, but we're kind of out of time. So
it is crazy. We're all there, but just happened? Where did we go?
Oh, there you
Okay,
are.
here we are.
Matt, I was also going to say a couple other use cases that I've seen is like uploading your target company. Let's say you're prepping for an interview, some recent earnings reports. Getting really clear on how this particular company makes money. How does the role fit into that? Or even like if you're interviewing for a particular product, like what's the competitive set for that product, and how does this product compare? Where do you think the areas like of weakness are? Like just getting really prepped so that you understand the company's business.
Everything's out
really
there.
good at that.
There's no reason not to know a lot of information. I was probably very lazy about researching. And by the way, if anyone has any questions, who's watching and has any questions, drop them in the comments. That's what we're here for, to answer any questions that you might have or share some experiences or event or whatever it is. We're here to listen and to help however we can help. Yeah, it's scary what AI can do. You just what it was 5 minutes of you showing the type of stuff that it can come up with, but and people are using it, right? So if you're not using it, then, and I probably should take my own advice, but if you're not using it in as much as everyone else is, that's going to put you at a disadvantage. And it's so competitive right now. I think look, if there's 1,000 people who've already applied for a job, I wouldn't say don't apply, because it's certain, you just never know. But just think about how hard it is that you need to be that one person out of 1,000. I mean, liken it to The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. I mean, these are one person out of 30, and that's very hard to get. And there's a lot of qualified people. I mean, for whatever these people are looking for, I guess. But that's even tough to do. 1 out of 30. So it doesn't. It's not an indication of you and how your qualifications that you didn't get this job. This person might know. I mean, there's a whole host of reasons why someone could have gotten a job over you. But what you want to do is, again, try and remove as many of these roadblocks, or put yourself, ahead of the game, and more get more attention, have more, let's say, raffle tickets, right, in the lottery, or balls in the lottery drawer, so that it's make it hard for them to not.
I was going to say also, AI is a great help, but when people ask like what the limits are of AI, the best example I have so far is that AI could explain to you that a tomato is actually a fruit, but only a human could explain why that fruit doesn't belong in a fruit salad.
That's my mom
So,
has that magnet on her refrigerator. It's one of my favorite sayings.
so yeah. So, and then the thing I like that I've seen also is it's something like a what is it? Pragmat. I don't know. Like the difference between like wisdom, knowledge. Like wisdom is knowing that tomato is a fruit.
Right.
Knowledge is knowing it doesn't belong in a fruit salad. And a philosophy is asking if tomato juice is actually a smoothie. So
That's great advice and good point. Like, you might even have to research what you got from AI, just because you don't want to come over into an interview and say something that is just not right. It's going to be it could be bad for you.
Yeah, I meant to say that. Validate everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Validate
I explained
everything.
basically like AI is a great co-pilot, but you don't want it to take over completely. So there's actually some statistic that like about 30% right now, as of like 2025, 30% of employers are complaining that they're getting AI generated resumes that are all using the exact same phrases.
Yeah.
And if you start reading these resumes, within a very short time, you could start sniffing out AI generated resumes very quickly. So once you have like your information, you're able to put together your resume, you could have AI refine it for you. But I wouldn't just tell AI, hey, write my resume for me.
Yeah, I would put anything and try and make it in your own words. Just use the meat of what they're giving you. Even if you had someone else do it. I have people who would say, you should say this. And I'm like, I don't talk that way. There's no way I could ever say that. You have to take what they're saying and make it your own. Yeah, I mean, look, the resume, Darren can talk more about that. I think it's a coin flip. It's who knows? You try and see what works, but you might not know what worked anytime. It's just very hard to know what works. It's not as much when someone says, "Hey, this is the exact reason why." The same reason when you get these surveys, like, "Why did you do this? How'd you hear about it?" I mean, there's just sometimes there's no way to know. But if you're getting crickets on everything, I think that's a good indication that you got to do something different, change something in your resume, change something in your cover letter, or what you're searching for. I don't know. That's why it stinks to not get feedback, to get ghosted, and not get any feedback as to why. Like, it's the standard line. Well, we had so many great applicants. I'd love to have someone come back and say, you know what, here's where you failed, because then I'll know I probably shouldn't go after that. And maybe you'd still do, but it would be good to have feedback.
That's actually something I always recommend to clients, especially when they're in the job search, is to try, first of all, to do an investigation and see if you could actually contact a real life person. And then also, if you didn't get accepted for the job, craft a very well written, diplomatic, non kind of blaming, non angry kind of message to follow up, maybe thanking them for their time and asking for feedback. Usually people do enjoy giving feedback, if asking for people love to give their opinions. And if you say something like, I really appreciate the opportunity. I understand you needed to move on with someone else. I'm just curious if there's anything you could see in my resume that would help me, improve it for a job similar to this. And obviously the HR person hiring for a job like that, hopefully could give you some pretty good advice of what's missing or what you would do differently.
Well, we're coming up to about an hour here, so I just want to give the people anyone watching, if you have any more questions. I see Melissa is interested in the guide, and I think April was as well. So we'll be sure to get that to you. Follow or shoot a message to Darren, or we'll put it in maybe put it in the group. I'm not sure, but we'll get it to you one way or another. I saw a couple people join the group as we were going through this. I encourage you to share it with people. Really, I think it's helpful just to hear other people's stories, to hear what's working for others. Might not work for you, but at least I never thought of that. It's unbelievable how much of what you see is just common sense. You probably already know it. You just haven't heard it in a while, or you haven't thought about it. And so someone else writing that is what's going to guide that to you. And so you got to be you just got to consume everything, and then be like what's the thing that just moves on from Ted Lasso? Be you know what I'm talking about? The thing that you forget, you do something bad happens, you move on. They have very short memories. What is that? Somebody in the audience is watching. Not a grasshopper. I don't know. Bruce is asking if you heard of companies blocking applicants from submitting resumes. You want to be a little bit more detail on that?
I mean, Matt, I am seeing jobs close really quickly. Yeah. I don't know if that's what Bruce is referring to. And I know a lot of times people want a referral, the power of relationships, but I am seeing because I will save jobs during the week, and then I do my recap. And I always check to see that it's still open. And there are times that the job is already closed in a matter of days. So it could be that, but unless he asked a follow-up question, but I am seeing jobs close pretty fast. And I think it's just due to the number of applicants they're probably getting.
There is some statistic that because people are using these alerts and their apps. There's some statistic that when a company posts an average job, and Apple and Google, Amazon are extreme examples, but the average company, when they post an open job, the first application arrives usually something like within 3 seconds, and within about 24 hours, something like that, most jobs will have between 100 to 250 applications.
Crazy.
So it could be, if the gentleman was asking about why jobs close, it could be, especially a company that doesn't know this and they just put a job out, and then within 24 hours they have 300 applications, they might just say, okay, closed. That's it. Another thing that could be location. So you might actually be in the US, but your like IP provider or something like that might show you're in China or show you're somewhere else, and so it might block you for that reason. I don't know what other reason you might be blocked for something, but I
I
do know
have,
location or something
yeah,
could
I've
be.
seen a couple companies say they don't want you applying for more than so many roles in a certain
Oh,
period of
good point.
time. That's the other
Yeah.
one I've seen.
Yeah, that's what can you apply to a company too many times? Yeah, maybe that could be it. That's what I was thinking. And I wouldn't use this too often, but every company probably has an email address where you can send something. I don't recommend necessarily doing it because they have a process and that's what they want to do. But if you can't apply there, maybe shoot an email. Hey, I'm interested in the company in this role and I'm not able to apply. Can you give me some guidance? And they might be able to tell you. It might also be AI chatbot automated reply. Who knows? But
I have actually mentioned this many times to clients because they'll say, I ask if they followed up with a job lead or something like that. And they often say, like, well, it's on LinkedIn or it's on Indeed, and there's not a real human that I could actually email. But a lot of times, if you play detective and you start looking company pages, HR people, things like that, you could do some due diligence and find out who you're actually talking to. And sometimes they're irritated and sometimes they don't like it. But I think there's just as much chance that they admire you, but that out of 100 applications, you're the one person that actually did some research to
yeah,
find who that person is and gave them a call, gave them an email, whatever.
it
And
can't hurt.
yeah, I mean, some people get irritated because, they say, I don't want
It's
to be
out there.
bothering
It's out
people.
there in public, and
Right,
it's public. It's not like you're figured out crack some private code.
right,
Most people's stuff is out there. You find these emails and they have their phone number right there. I'm like, well, it's right in there in your contact
right,
information. Like, don't. Why do you get all upset or surprised when someone calls you? Like
right.
that's why it's there.
And very few job seekers take the initiative and put in that extra effort to find that person or give a call, give an email, or whatever, connect with them. And if you're one of the 5% that actually do that, you're in a much better position.
Yeah. So Rana says change your email. I think that's an okay advice, but they might be able to find out that the name is the same, the address is. So I think you got to be careful with that. But I think it's not a bad idea in some respects, but it could come back and bite you because if they see that it's a double, um, you know,
Yeah, you're
your
manipulating. You're
name.
you're not
I
honest.
don't know what they're using. I wish people were more responsive to their LinkedIn messages too or emails, but you just look. I take everything personally. I'm just going to say I do. There's no one's too busy to reply. But that said, we never know what's going on and the situation, and so I think you got to be persistent, but I think you also got to understand that some people just aren't going to respond to you. It's tough. The ghosting is out of control with job search, with anything. I want to give everyone some last thoughts here. So, Andrea, take some time and give people some last thoughts and encouragement.
No, I mean, I will say I've been hearing from a number of people that have been looking for a while that are landing jobs. I mean, it's taking a while, but I know of several that have not taken a step back, like they're moving into comparable roles. So I would say keep the faith. You're likely doing all the right things. Pace yourself. I would develop a schedule and find some things that feed your soul too, because it's a bit of a marathon from what I'm hearing. And there are a lot of people on the platform that want to help and are trying to help where they can.
Yeah. Let's answer this question. This is where I think Andrea's answer earlier would be. I think you give them a follow. I don't think you connect with them because follow, you get to see what their stuff is. That's sort of recon research. Connecting could be a little awkward, if you don't get the job. it just I'm assuming you're going to agree with that, right?
I would. I mean, most people want to have a very fair interview process. So I actually would just leave it alone. I would definitely look at their LinkedIn profile, have a good sense of their background, look for commonalities, or you can use their profile to, what Darren said, get ready and anticipate some questions that they might ask by using AI. But I probably wouldn't send a LinkedIn request because I wouldn't want to jinx it. But that's just me.
I
Yeah.
would very respectfully disagree with our esteemed panel members. Reaching out is good. You always miss 100% of the shots you don't take, as Michael Jordan once said. And the important thing is, as long as you're diplomatic and respectful and polite, and you don't say, something like, "Hey, I'm going to meet with you next week. Can I bring you flowers or something like that?" That's not good. But just something, something that if you received, before you write, think about if you received this message, would you want to connect with someone? And if you just put something like, "Hi, Mr. Smith, we have an interview next week. I'm really looking forward to meeting with you. Have a wonderful day." Something like that. Most likely that, who would not want to connect with that
I,
unless they're under some obligation not to connect with
I
you.
do agree with that. The only thing is, I'll say, is you just never know what the person's like. So, are you going to, is it going to hurt you? That's all. Everything you do, you just have to worry about. It might be okay. It might be fair. It might even be the right thing to do. But how is that person on the other end going to take it? And we have no idea how it is. So I would say everything you do with the idea that, actions have consequences. I think it's probably no big deal. If someone did it to me, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I'm sure we all know people who would. So I don't disagree with you there. But I just think you have to be aware of that it might not work out. And now, if they don't accept your things, is that going to be going through your mind as you're sitting in the interview? I mean, there's a lot of stuff, that needs to be, or are they going to have access to see more things that you might not want them to see? That it might not even be a big deal, but now they've seen it because it's coming across their feed. So I think there's a lot of things that could happen there.
And
Yeah,
this could actually be a good.
I've typically done
Okay.
it after a great interview, particularly if I've really gelled with the interviewer in the past. I would send it back when I was looking for my last role, and it was a nice, like, kind of almost connection because we both felt like we had a great connection during the chat. But again, I think you just have to read the situation, and you might get a sense from looking from their profile and seeing their interactions with people. Like, you might get a sense of what they're like, and maybe they would be open to
And
that.
by the way, you've been in this search in the past year. This is recent for you, right?
So I almost went through a layoff. I was within one day of getting, I was on a list. And so I was starting to do external and internal, and I found another role internally. Like, I got my offer my final day. So I was spared.
All
I
right.
was going to say, this is actually a good opportunity for AI to help you out, and you could tell it something like, "Act as the world's greatest psychologist, act as the world's greatest HR manager, read this person's profile, read my profile, and give me 5 reasons that I should connect with them before the interview, and 5 reasons I shouldn't, and what would be your final recommendation?" Something like that, and then see what it says.
Yeah. Let's give you an opportunity for some last thoughts for the people who are going to listen. We're listening now and who will be listening.
I would say that job searching is difficult. It's a battle. One of the most important things is to take care of yourself. And that means making sure that you want to treat your job search as a job. So schedule breaks, make sure a lot of times also, especially if there's financial stress going on, there's family stress, whatever, it's even more important to take breaks. Make sure you get enough sleep, make sure you're eating right, make sure you get outside and exercise, get your sunshine, and realize that one of my favorite sayings is it's let's see. Oh, I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said something like, if he had an hour to chop down a tree, he would spend 45 minutes sharpening his axe. So if you're in job search mode, it's very stressful. Uh, it's very difficult. So you want to spend maybe not 45% of the time, but a large amount of time taking care of yourself, exercising, and doing what you need to do to put yourself in the best frame of mind. If you don't have high morale, if you're starting to procrastinate, starting to get down on yourself, that's really going to affect your job search. So take care of yourself.
I think people will be able to tell, right? I mean, it probably shows in an interview you go in with a certain attitude. There was one more question here. How can you explain interviewing for the same exact role you've done for a number of years? Just that it, I mean, I would think that'd be easy for you.
Yeah, if they're asking like, why are you doing the same thing, not promoting or something like that, well, first of all, ask AI to help you. Second of all, you want to diplomatically give a reason why you haven't
Oh,
maybe
why you
moved
got
up.
elevated? Yeah.
Yeah, why haven't you gone for that VP role now or that C level or something like that? You don't want to show that you're not interested in growing, that you like hate people and you don't want to lead people. You don't want to say things like that. But if you could come up with some reasons why you're satisfied and content and get a lot of joy and pleasure and meaning out of doing the precise job that you're doing now.
Not everyone wants to be a manager or a VP. It
Yeah,
comes with a lot more
exactly.
time, and even though it's more money, I mean, I don't think there's any shame. I wouldn't necessarily say I don't want to do that, but there's ways, like you said, to diplomatically to let people know why. Um, I don't think anyone's looking. If you're qualified, you're qualified. At this point, I guess you could be overqualified, but they were looking at people who are like really, really overqualified. I told you guys before that I take everything personal. My advice is the goldfish with Ted Lasso. You just gotta whatever happens, you gotta make it like that's what you thought was gonna happen and move on to the next one. Don't let it affect your attitude in dealing with people, your negativity. And believe me, if you have to vent, you know, call me, message me, we'll chat about it. It happens. But I think overall, out in you have to show gratitude and just that you're positive about this and encourage other people too. I think even if you're looking, encourage other people, help other people, and that I think people want to help people that they see helping other people. I think that's one of the things that got me. I see other people helping people. Oh, I'd much rather help them. So I think whatever you do, it only takes one, and that's the good and the bad of it, right? The one click or one job or a little bit of luck probably, but you got to do the things that are necessary to do, and you're not going to be unemployed forever. And just keep at it and reach out to people who want to help. We're here to help. There's a whole group that's there to help. There's a whole list of people who want to help, and that's just the people I know. You could probably find someone else who's got another list that we don't even know about, and hopefully we'll find that you can share it in that group. And now, just like that, our list doubles. So if you have any questions, if you need anything, I'm about as accessible a person as possible. Happy to help how I can. I know everyone that I bring on feels the same way. So follow us. If you're not connected with me, feel free to connect with me. Definitely join the group. Share with others. This is going to be on replay. And if there's enough interest, we'll do another one, maybe with some new topics. And hopefully people have some good news to share before we do the next one. But until then, thanks for joining. Appreciate you guys for joining. I know you guys do a lot to help already, and this is just, more stuff doing to help. And we're looking
Thank
forward.
you so much, Matt. Thanks for having us on, and thanks for
having
doing
me.
this.
We're looking forward to hearing some good news from some people and for everything to get back to where it was back then. So appreciate it. Check out the group and the recording. Thanks.
Okay.
All right.